King Vaughn's mother inherited $20 million, and the way she lives today is absolutely insane. We're talking about a woman who spent years holding her family together in one of the most dangerous neighborhoods in Chicago, watching her son grind through circumstances that would have broken most people, and who is now on the other side of all of that in a way that's almost surreal to look at. Tasha Bennett, known simply as Tasha, raised Vaughn Bennett on the south side of Chicago in one of the most unforgiving environments this country has produced. O Block, the neighborhood Vaughn would later immortalize in his music, wasn't a backdrop, it was reality. Families struggling against poverty and violence in a system that had long stopped pretending to care. Through all of it, Tasha was the constant. She largely stayed out of the spotlight. No interviews, no blogs, but her name became impossible to separate from Vaughn's story once he broke out, and especially once the world lost him. What people outside Chicago don't fully appreciate is that she wasn't just a parent in the traditional sense. She was survival, and watching her hold things down with almost nothing is what built the loyalty baked into everything Vaughn eventually wrote and did. Vaughn Bennett started turning heads in Chicago through raw authenticity, and his connection to Lil Durk and the Only the Family movement gave him a national platform. Projects like Grandson Volume 1, Levon James, and Welcome to O Block didn't just put up numbers, they established him as one of the most gifted storytellers Chicago rap has produced. Someone who didn't just rap about the streets, but documented them, giving people who lived it a voice and people outside it a window. That dual appeal is exactly what makes a catalog worth tens of millions of dollars once all is said and done. Before any of the estate math, though, there's the moment that defines who Vaughn was as a son. Off one of his first major rap checks, he didn't buy chains or hit the club. He went straight to his mother, surprised her with a new home, pulled up in a Mercedes-Benz, and handed her $20,000 in cash on the spot. No ceremony, just a son keeping a promise to himself. Fans still talk about that moment because it wasn't a flex, it was a fulfillment. On November 6, 2020, King Vaughn was shot and killed outside an Atlanta nightclub following an altercation. He was 26. The hip-hop community was devastated in a way that felt different, because Vaughn wasn't just popular, he was positioned right at the point where the biggest chapters of his career were supposed to be written. What he left behind, though, wasn't nothing. It was a fully constructed financial foundation, a catalog, real estate, and a family already set up before the worst happened. That foundation is what makes the $20 million figure not an exaggeration, but arguably conservative. The first and biggest pillar is his music catalog. His management has stated publicly that Vaughn owned 100% of his masters, a claim repeated consistently across interviews and industry coverage. That matters enormously, because most artists who come up through the streets the way Vaughn did end up signing deals that hand their recordings away for upfront money. Vaughn either resisted that or negotiated around it, and the result is an estate that keeps the full economic value of his recordings inside his family rather than inside a corporation. Every stream, every sync placement, every sample clearance, every posthumous release flows directly back to the estate instead of a label taking the majority cut. His catalog was already generating serious streaming revenue while he was alive, and in the months after his death, those numbers exploded as the entire hip-hop world went back through his discography, new fans discovering him, old fans revisiting him, every play adding to a revenue stream tied directly to Tasha's world. The second pillar is real estate, and this is where her current lifestyle really comes into focus. The house Vaughn bought her sat in a quiet residential area outside the city, fully furnished and move-in ready. The kind of place most families from O Block dream about reaching but rarely do. Because he bought it outright with his own money while he was alive, there was no complication when he passed. It was simply hers, clean and secured. And property appreciates. What he purchased years before his death is worth considerably more today. Stack that real estate value on top of the streaming catalog, royalties, licensing, and publishing rights, and $20 million starts to look like a floor, not a ceiling. What that actually means day to day is a completely different reality than the one Tasha grew up navigating. She's not doing month-to-month survival math anymore. She lives in a well-maintained home far removed from O Block, travels without calculating whether she can afford it, and attends events honoring Vaughn's memory without financial stress attached. That constant background noise, checking prices, putting things back, quietly worrying about a bill before it arrives, is gone permanently. Because the estate doesn't have bad months anymore. It has consistent ones and stronger ones. The Mercedes and the $20,000 cash gift were the floor. Everything after the estate took over is a different tier entirely. The posthumous side of his catalog has only expanded that picture. Since 2020, his team has released new material with care, each project reigniting streams and pulling in new listeners rather than fading with the news cycle. His numbers on Spotify have remained strong year after year, which is unusual. Most artists who pass away see a grief-driven spike followed by a steady decline as the news cycle moves on. Vaughn's numbers stabilized instead, at a level most living artists would envy. Tracks like Crazy Story with Polo G and the Welcome to O'Block remix have individually crossed hundreds of millions of streams. And because he owned his masters, the percentage flowing back to the estate on every one of those streams is dramatically higher than what a traditionally signed artist would ever see. Merchandise adds another steady layer on top. His name, image, and O'Block identity remain commercial properties his estate controls directly, generating consistent income through official drops and anniversary releases. The wrongful death lawsuit filed against Vaughn's estate by FBG Duck's mother ended up revealing, unintentionally, just how substantial that estate's financial position actually is. Because when opposing attorneys pursue an estate in court, its value becomes part of the public record in a way it normally wouldn't. Every headline covering that litigation reinforced the same thing. This wasn't a small or fading estate. It was a significant, ongoing revenue-generating entity worth fighting over. That impact hasn't stayed contained to Tasha alone either. The broader Bennett family orbit, siblings, extended relatives, people in Vaughn's immediate circle who might otherwise have been grinding through the same cycles O'Block produces generation after generation, has been elevated by what he built. The next generation in that family isn't starting from the same deficit Vaughn started from. They're starting from a foundation their relative built through ownership decisions made while he was still in his early 20s. That's the difference between artists who change their family's trajectory and those who make money that simply disappears. And by all accounts, the family has managed that inheritance with the same intention Vaughn brought to building it: preservation over quick spending, careful catalog releases instead of flooding the market, protecting the brand rather than diluting it for a fast payday. A lot of artist estates collapse within a few years because the people managing them make short-term decisions that kill long-term value. Vaughn's estate has avoided that trap so far, letting the machinery he set in motion keep running the way he built it to run. King Vaughn's $20 million estate isn't just a celebrity headline. It's the documented outcome of a young man from one of the most dangerous blocks in America deciding his mother's struggle had an expiration date, then engineering that ending through every smart decision he made about ownership before he ever had the chance to see it fully pay off. He was 26 years old. He'd already bought her a home outright, already handed her cash from his first real check, already secured ownership of his masters in a way plenty of artists twice his age never manage. And the estate he left behind has kept doing exactly what he built it to do: generate, grow, and protect the people he loved. The lifestyle Tasha is living is real. The properties are real, the transformation is permanent, and it keeps going because the catalog keeps streaming and the estate keeps compounding. Every layer of what she has access to today traces back to a choice Vaughn made, a deal he structured, a promise he refused to break. Proof that what he told her, and himself, was never just words. It was a blueprint, and he built it before the world ever got the chance to take him away. What do you think about the legacy King Vaughn built for his family? Drop your thoughts in the comments below, and subscribe if you want more deep dives like this one.